What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Dirt and Diamonds podcast, episode number 3.
Tres.
And here we are again, right? Early morning, trying to get set up. You guys know the business. Everything's kind of like all over the place. It's Saturday morning. I think Leo is about to head out up north. Leo, is that right?
That's right. Hey, we're on number 3. That means we've been consistent, I guess.
Every morning, it's like, oh man, is this gonna happen? Like something gets thrown at us, and we're not too sure if we're even gonna follow through. Sometimes, well, I am.
Well, it's not even on the calendar sometimes, but we know it exists. So,
Yeah, it's
but
the
yeah, I'm going up
unspoken thing.
north today, doing a open house on an investment opportunity, and then there's a couple open houses going on. But a good day, good busy day. What about you?
For me, this morning I'm gonna go to have the kids get their flu shots taken care of, and then
Good.
after that, I gotta go pick up a car at the airport for my parents, and then to go show houses after that. I got a client that got me running all around right now. They are from California. Great people. It's just that their options are very open now because they're purchasing a house instead of renting a house, and the difference in California, you know, for the money that you're buying a house here is what you'd be renting, right? 2 grand in rent out there, 2 grand in a mortgage payment. So it's kind of unruling of what they're looking at, right? I'm looking at different kinds of homes. I've seen big, small, large. I mean, you name it. I even been in Los Lunas with them. So hopefully we can tie something down. We were hoping that we'd be able to get under contract yesterday. It just didn't work out. That listing agent kind of didn't communicate clearly with me, and we got played. But we'll talk about that later.
How do you like the Valencia County?
Oh, I love it. It's freaking nice out there. I just sold a house in Rio Community, so that's way out there. But other than that, I think it's a really nice area. Green, especially when you're driving through what's that, 47, going all the way to
Oh
Los
yeah,
Lunas
yes.
from Bosque Farms in Peralta. That's freaking nice. I like that. Yeah, place is great. I didn't think I'd be selling homes out there, honestly. I found myself like in the first start of my career was a lot out in not in Los Lunas, Rio Rancho, and now they're taking me to Los Lunas, so we're going more south. But you sell a lot of homes out there. I mean, tell the people what you think.
Well, I mean, I love it. There's a place called Sopas over there. It's like in between Peralta and Bosque Farms, kind of.
Okay.
It's really good, dude. You need to try their food. It's actually pretty good. Um, well, I really like it. I mean, it's being tangible, right, and being mobile. Because when I started, a lot of brokers said, "Well, I only sell here. Well, I only sell there," and I would look at their sales, and there it wasn't that much, So, for me, it was, you start off, I'll go anywhere, right?
Yeah.
But then now I have a 2 hour time travel limit.
Oh,
I don't want to go more than 2 hours. But I mean, it's pretty cool because then you experience different properties, different cultures, and if you're a, a, a food connoisseur, that's a cool word for a fatty. I like trying the new restaurants. Like there's some really good restaurants in Valencia County. I gotta
I
say that.
I pass by all of them all the time. My problem is that I'm like so done that I just want to go home and I don't even want to stop or even think about like
You
anything
just
like
want to go straight home.
kind of ironic. The one place that I do stop very frequently when I'm out there is Tractor Supply. I
Oh
don't know.
my God. Oh, what a surprise. Well,
Every
you
time
gotta,
I pass by,
dude, burritos at the Asleta Casino gas station.
that's what I heard.
Oh my, dude, there was some lady selling tamales out there. She had they were different, but she would like, dude, they were so bomb, dude.
What made you want to stop there?
Just to pour gas. You go in there, you pour gas, and then I saw burritos. I'm like, I'm gonna buy one, and they were super good, dude.
That's what I heard. I heard the burritos there are
I
bomb. My
always
brother-in-law.
wondered why they had a sign in specific they put up on the like median of the street that said we're selling burritos again, and I'm like, Okay, but
Cool.
now I know why, dude. Now I
Now
know
you're
why.
hooked. Now you're an advocate for the Esteta Casino
Oh,
burritos.
dude,
So
those burritos
anybody
are
who goes south, you pass by that gas station, make sure to get yourself a burrito. Next time I pass by, I'll definitely see if I can snag one up. Usually I'm passing by in like the later evening, so God knows if they even have burritos.
oh, dude. Well, no, probably not at that time. I'm sure they run out. I'm sure they
Well, I
run
would
out there.
assume with the
They're
sign and
super
marketing
bomb.
like that. All right.
Well, I think today we're going to talk about talent versus hustle.
Okay.
Um, and I think it was probably almost tying into what you're about to say with the deal, with what occurred.
Yeah.
Um, but what does it mean to you? What talent versus hustle? Do you think it's better to have talent? Do you better think it's better to have hustle?
Well, I mean, I think either or, right? I personally would rather have more hustle than talent because, you can have all the talent in the world, but if you don't know how to utilize it, if you're just kind of like born with this kind of stuff, it's very hard to get a grasp on exactly what you're doing. Hustle, on the other hand, you worked to figure out this skill. You had to put in the hours. You had to go through the essential shit in order to figure out exactly what you were doing. So, in the true aspect, I think hustle holds a lot more weight because there is a lot more hours put behind that than just somebody who woke up and was kind of good at it, right? We see it all the time. And, like, I don't know, I had friends growing up who were very talented in sports, but they were lazy, right? They didn't
Mhm.
put their skills to work. So that was their downfall. Anytime they step up to the plate, they couldn't perform because they haven't put the hours behind the actual knowledge and how to figure out how to utilize that talent versus the guy who at one point sucked. 3 months later, he's been putting countless hours in, and he's better than that one guy with all that talent. So that's my opinion on there. I'm a big hustle guy because I really don't have a whole lot of God given talent. I like to tell myself that I'm nobody special. So I gotta put in the hours. I gotta get over my laziness because if I leave myself to my own demise, I won't get anything done. So I gotta build that discipline and that hustle in order to utilize and figure out how to make all this stuff happen. So, for example, prospecting. I always bring this up because I suck at it. I'm not the greatest at it. Nobody taught me how to do it, but I knew that it was essential and I had to figure it out. So I went through the hustle, I went through the work in order to figure this out. And it's paying off, right? It's one of those things. I'm not talented on the phone. I don't know how to really communicate a whole lot. So I just put in the hours. And that's essentially the hustle to me. So I mean, what kind of hustles do you have? I mean, the first podcast we said, right? Not everybody is as good as Leo. Okay, so everybody just kind of take a step back. Leo's about to tell us, his struggles and his kinds of things. So listen up, listen up.
Listen to my beautiful melody. Just kidding.
Hey,
I feel like I'm Eminem and I'm about to freestyle, dude.
I'm
Jesus.
listening. Hey,
Oh
I'm
my
listening.
God.
I'm about to
No,
take some game
well,
myself.
at first I was hustled because truly people for some reason they think I'm an evil genius sometimes. They're like, Leo, you had that planned. And I go into character and I'm like, yes, I did. But truly I didn't because early on what I learned and I early on I learned in my career that some people are readers, and I commend the people that are readers because they could sit down and they could read. That's really hard for me to do. Some people are visual learners. All they need is a PowerPoint. Boom, they learn. Not me, right? I'm hands on. And it takes different people to explain different things in order for me to comprehend stuff. So I have a low comprehension level, right?
Mhm.
So for me, it was just hustle, my work ethic, right? I
Yep.
just, I didn't understand things. All I did was take action, right? Um, and then all of a sudden I started learning based on the action.
Yeah.
So I wasn't the smartest person in the room at all. I just, I would just take action. So I'm a big believer in hustle. I mean, talent is something really amazing. If you have talent and you don't put it to work, then of course. But also, right, hustling, playing devil's advocate. If you just hustle, but then you don't invest in yourself to develop more talent in your hustle, then you're never going to grow because you're going to have the same monetary value, right? So one of my buddies, and I'm sure he's going to tune in, he's going to hear this podcast. He said, that was me. I was down on my career, right? And as you know, this is a cutthroat business. Not a lot of people give you the game. You know, they give you the cold shoulder because it's commission, right? If they could take your lunch, they're gonna take your lunch. And
Mm.
um, I went to one of my buddies. He's not in real estate. He's a great buddy of mine. Ran a successful health shop. I'm not saying specifics so he could figure out. um, well, I sat down with him. I met up with him when Buffalo Wild Wings was still a thing. Do they still
Oh,
exist?
yep. Yeah, yeah, they do.
They still exist. Um, and I asked him for advice. I'm like, man, dude, I feel like I just can't grow. And he said, I want to sell houses. I want to sell high-end homes, right? And I work hard. And then he looked at me and said, have you invested in yourself? I was like, no, what do you mean? He's like, well, you say you want to achieve getting a higher audience, you want to achieve getting a higher purchase price. What have you done to invest in yourself in order for your value to increase?
Ah,
And he just hit me right in between the eyes, dude. It's like, well, I haven't done nothing. I just been focusing on going out there and the jale, freaking
mhm.
going out there and working hard. So then I thought, this guy makes a good point. So then it motivated me to focus more on education. After that moment, I focused more on education than I focused on the monetary. So that was a turning point for me in talent and hustle. I feel like if you have talent, you don't put it to work, the hustler's gonna beat you, right? But
Yeah.
if you're a hustler, that yes, you're working hard because you're a hands-on learner. You're not as smart as Leo, right? Or you were in the same level as Leo because I wasn't that smart, but I always found a way to invest in my knowledge. Even though I was grinding and yes, it felt good to get deals, I always found a way to invest in my education to bring up my own value.
Well, that's really huge that you say that, and it's a really good point because I was just listening to Ed Milet, and he talks about the temperature in the room, right? And he talks about investing in yourself and that kind of thing. And essentially, what you did was raise the temperature, internal temperature in yourself, to be able to have a higher desire, to have a thirst for something bigger. And you knew that it wasn't just going to come about just like beating down on the shit all day, right? Because it wasn't there was nothing happening, right? You were just doing monotonous stuff, same old thing. Yeah, you were getting deals, but you felt like you were doing the same deal over and over again, right? So we get
Correct.
stuck in that pitfall. And a lot of people don't understand that, especially, the Mexican and Latino community, right? Because to spend money, I'm not gonna say how much you spend on a coach a year, on all the education that you spend a year, because you probably spend thousands of dollars. Because
Yes.
I know from my point that I do spend thousands of dollars a year
Yes.
in order to have these people tell me, hey, this is what you do, this is how you think, this is how you should speak. And most people aren't willing to do that because, oh, that's too expensive. Oh, I can go buy this or I can buy that. But the problem is that investing in yourself is an investment that pays a lifetime, right? And I tell all the youngsters that I come in contact with that ask me like, "Hey, I got some money. What should I invest in? Should I buy houses? Should I do this?" And I tell them, "Look, the first investment you're going to want to make is in yourself, right? Because
Correct. Amen. Yep.
because you may be talented, right? You may be good looking, you may know how to talk, but the problem is that if you don't put in the hours or put in the work and put in the hustle in order to figure out how to actually do this stuff, people are going to run you over, right? And you're going to get stuck. You're going to get lost in between all this, craziness and chaos that happens in real estate and business. So don't do that to yourself. Take your money, buy yourself a coach, right? Go and spend $5,000 a year to have some lunatic tell you, hey, this is what you should be doing. This is how you should think. Because when you sit there, you're like, man, that's crazy. And if somebody's right, because I've had people sit in on some of the meetings that I have with my coaches, and they're like, man, like that guy's yelling at you. Yeah, what do you think a coach is, right? Do you think Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, any of these guys were just going to make it on their own? No, God, no. They had a strength coach. They had, gosh, there's Tim Grover and Ben Newman now,
Oh
right?
yeah, yeah.
These guys are mindset coaches. And people are like, why am I going to tell somebody? Why am I going to pay somebody to tell me how to think? The problem is that you don't know how to think, and you're not taking the time to put in that hustle and that work and that grind in order to change your mindset. And that's where everything starts, right? Is in the mind.
In the mind. Well, I think you said something big, and I'm gonna reiterate it. I mean, Eli just gave you guys a freaking key. Like, there's a lot of um, right. There's a lot of people like I go to these events, and they always ask the guest speakers, like, Tim Grover. Um, that guy's fierce, man. That guy's
Oh yeah.
fierce. Bradley, Albert, my mentor, and they say, what would you have done differently right away, if when you started, is that, or if you had $50,000, what you done, where you invested in? And they always say we would have invested in coaches and mentors. We would have spent all our money on coaches and mentors, right?
Hmm.
So you just gave everybody a key. Invest in coaches and mentors. I don't care if you're lifting weights, there's a coach and mentor for that, right? People, when they're about to compete, right? You right away see people hire a coach. They right away hire a coach because now they're trying to get to a higher level of fitness, right? It's
Hmm.
like you, hey Leo, I'm gonna compete. I know for sure you're gonna hire somebody who's gonna help you with, I don't know what they do, the poses, and I don't know anything about that. But
wait, wait till I interject a clip of a guy posing on this. Watch, people are gonna get a kick out of
Hey, no, really. The only thing I'm jealous of is like, where do you guys find that bronzer? I'm just kidding. I have respect for all the. It takes discipline, and that's what blows my mind. Like, especially people in fitness, like they already got the discipline. Like, they're waking up early, they're going to the gym. I always say, what if you apply that in business?
Oh,
Like you already developed the freaking discipline. Like imagine applying that in business. The same thing, hiring a coach, waking up early, getting
uh-huh.
your reps in, right? So sometimes it kind of blows my mind that, and not all fitness people, but most fitness people, a lot of them, when I don't see them successful, it's like I want to splash water in their face. I'm like, you're a step ahead, right? Because they
Yeah.
already developed the power of discipline.
Yep.
Wouldn't you agree on that? I know it could be a groundbreaking topic, but
It is. It is. And you said something very vital, right? On the topic of hustle versus talent. If you're in the gym, no, I don't care how, I don't know, athletic you are or whatever it is, your first time in the gym, everybody sucks, right?
yeah.
Your form is off. You try to lift more than what you think you're doing. Your routine is all out of whack. So you got to put in that hustle, right? And you said something very big that if people that are listening to this, just get this into their head is that they put the reps in, right? How
Hmm.
many reps do you got to go in and do into the gym, right? You're not going to go into the gym one day and then look like Hulk Hogan or look like Arnold Schwarzenegger or all these guys on Instagram, right? That took years, years of dedication, hustle, trial and error, figuring out what works and what doesn't, right? And that's what business is. That's what business is. That's why the fitness industry and a lot of the fitness guys succeeded at high levels because they understood that the mindset that it took to be in the gym is the same mindset that it takes to succeed in business, right? You go in there, right? The hardest part is showing up. That's what everybody will tell you in business. It's the hardest part is showing up. The second part is figuring out a routine and a schedule. All right. So that's your workout for the day. Second is going in there, no matter how much pain you're in, how sore you are, how shitty of a day you had, what mindset you're in, is just getting in there, focusing on the task and getting it done. What's that? Prospecting, lead generating, marketing, whatever it is, right? And then at the end, you're stretching, you're doing all that, right? That's CRM work. That's working in your CRM,
Mhm.
making sure that everything's nice and clean, emails, all that stuff, right? And at the end of the day, you're recovering, right? And in between all that is all the little things like nutrition, right? How we're eating, what how balanced our meals are, those kinds of things. And that's all the little stuff that comes in between, right? Of business. Look,
Yeah, and
give
that's
people the game plan. So go to the gym if you want to be successful, number one.
mhm.
If you
I recommend it. I mean, I recommend it, especially for beginning entrepreneurs. Sometimes when I was feeling down, so I'm gonna make calls now. And there was like a zombie, it's like you're not gonna succeed. You're not gonna succeed because the client's gonna feel your energy. Hey, do you want to buy a house? No, right? Okay,
Yeah.
bye. They hang up faster than the client does versus they go to the gym. It could be, I don't care if you're going to make calls at 5 and you're feeling down, hit the gym at 3 o'clock. Go for a jog, do push ups. I don't know. Um, but then you're energetic, you got your blood pumping, you freaking pick up the phone and they feel that your energy, right? And I think you talked about nutrition and stuff, right? The hustler at the gym, they just start picking up weights and doing heavy weights and not focusing on their technique, right? They're
Mhm,
hustling. They might go every day, right? There was some gym goers that I would see go every day, but they wouldn't change. Their
mhm,
physique wouldn't change because they weren't strategic, right? They weren't developing their talent. So then all of a sudden you see this big person. They could have a lightweight, but they're doing their technique correctly. So then they're hustling, but they're hustling strategically. Their talent is now up and they're achieving a higher level of success than that person. They could probably show up to the gym 5 times a week, be in and out in an hour. And that hustler person could be showing up to the gym 7 times a week, be there for 2 hours. And the person that shows up less days and a less of a workout has a much better physique, right? So um, the gym is a great, and it was accidental. We didn't even plan talking about the gym, but the gym is a great way to put this theory into practice. Yes, I agree. Hustle could be talent, but once you learn how to hustle and mix the talent, you even
mhm.
work less because then you're working efficiently. And then he just mentioned a CRM system, right? I don't care if you're an ambitious hustler, and I have a person on my team like that. I preach, I give people the map. Hey, this is the map. This is what you need to succeed. But a lot of people are not ready to hear the information. One of my other mentors used to say, once the student is ready, the teacher will appear.
Mhm.
What the fuck do you mean by that? But it made sense because there was some information my mind wasn't just ready for. But then once I got to a certain tier, that information just clicked, right? And the CRM systems is the key, right? When you're asleep, the system is following up for you, right?
Mhm.
Kind of like eating the right foods. When you're asleep, whatever the foods is doing for your body, recovery, right? I'm not that well versed on nutrition, so those nutritionists out there, please don't get offended. But same thing with the systems. They're following up for you while you're asleep. You're still getting your reps in, or you're still building your business while you're asleep. And that's the biggest thing for growth. Literally, a lot of people just focus on the hustle right away. Hustle strategically.
Yeah.
Hustle strategically. When you hustle strategically, you're more efficient with your time. You could help more people, and you could still have good work-life balance.
I think you said something super vital too, right? Is that essentially hustle strategically, right? And you will be able to use your time effectively. My biggest thing that I always tell everybody, I said, I'm not here to work 16 hours straight a day and not get anything done. I want to be the guy that works 8 hours a day and crushes everybody because I'm focused, right? When I'm sitting down and I dedicate an hour to my CRM or to emails, that's all I'm doing, right? And our my coach Sean Whalen, he said something this week. He said, you know, you're not because he was having a problem with getting people to come into the live meetings, the live calls, and stuff like that. There's not a whole lot of people showing up, and he finally sat down and said, you know what? I'm focusing on so much outside stuff that is not making sense that it's actually not allowing me to give my best self to the people that are here. And essentially, that's what it is, just getting focused, figuring out a strategy and sticking to that plan, seeing it through, and dialing it in between, right? If something changes, pivot, right? Because I give the analogy, right? We're a race car moving at 100 miles an hour, and all it takes is a 1 degree shift in order to change your whole trajectory, right?
Yeah.
That's all it takes. So people want to make these massive changes and change everything, but the problem is that hey, how long have you tried this? How long have you been doing this? Right, the whole gym aspect. People want to go into the gym for a week and be like, oh yeah, I haven't even lost a pound, knowing that if they go for the next week, they'd probably lose another 5 just like that out of nowhere, because that's how it works. We want to see instant gratification, right? And the hustle part of us is like, man, I'm just working so much. I'm putting everything in and I'm not seeing anything. And the talent side of us is like, yeah, nothing's working, right? So again, the topic of the devil and the angel. But on the hustle topic, we got to just go in there, get to work, and if we're talented enough, if we're lucky enough to have some talent, how can we utilize that talent that we have, right? So some guys will walk in, they're already aesthetically, you know, pretty good, right? Small waist, they got a six pack, they got some broad shoulders, they just need some help building that up. Now that's what I would call talent. Somebody's already
Mhm.
had the physique and the talent. They just need some help in getting it done. Now, if that person isn't willing to go through the hustle, to lift the weights, to do all that work, they're not going to get the goals that they're desiring, right? They're just going to go through the motions. Like you said, they're not being effective with their time. They're just going in there and they look the same year after year and they're complaining that nothing's changing. Well, because dude, you 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 haven't taken the time and invested in yourself and ask the right questions to say, hey, what am I doing wrong here? Right? What am I doing wrong? And then ask the people who are ahead of you, hey, what do you think that I'm doing wrong? Check it out. Check this out, right? This is my routine. This is what I'm eating. And those people will tell you right away, hey, bro, this is what you're doing wrong. Do this instead. If instead of doing chest every day, right? Because some guru on the internet told you that you got to work out chest every day to build a chest. Build Do effective routines, right? Build chest on Monday, go heavy on Monday, right? And then do some what is it called? Isolated movements, right? Isolated movements after that, right? To build. Wow, what the heck? I didn't know you could build a routine like that. Well, yeah, dummy, if you just continue to do it on your own and not invest in yourself and get the right people, you ain't gonna get ahead, right? So that's the investment aspect. And that's how you beat talent, right? What is that saying, Leo? What is it? I know I kind of went on a tangent there. I just get really passionate about the
What
gym.
is it? What is it? Hustle beats
Hus-
talent when talent doesn't hustle?
That's right. That's it.
Yes, yeah. Well, I think you made a good point. I mean, um, going back, how there was one point that you made, I just wanted to jump in. But uh, you said people walk in talented. Um, People are, oh, there we go. Not being afraid to ask for help.
Yeah.
And that's what I see with not the beginning entrepreneurs, but I want to say the ones that are like, they were beginning, they had some success. Now they're in the kind of in the middle, right? Because when you're beginning, you're a sponge. You're not afraid to ask. You're not afraid to feel abundance. You're not afraid to feel below, right? And I use quotations because that's how people feel when they ask somebody for advice. But then when they're in the middle, some people don't want to hear the advice. They feel
Mhm.
like their ego's attacked, right? Like, oh well, I closed this many deals, or bless you,
Thank you.
and they're just they stop listening because they had some sort of success. I also see this in people who um, may have a parent or a brother, cousin, or uncle that's successful in business, and they think that's them. So then they don't take advice because they write off of the gratification. But it's like, hey, they have their head, you have yours. Guess what? That's their success, not yours, right? Because we all have a friend, we all have a coach, but that doesn't mean that we're in their position. I mean, you said one of your coaches is Sean Whalen.
Mm-hmm.
Shoot,
Yep.
I wish I could ride his jet. Shit, freaking borrow his cars, live in his house. But that's not me. So I'm not going to write off of the gratification of my coach.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still in my position. So the biggest mistake I see with people that have been in their career and they haven't grown, it's because they stop being a sponge. They're afraid to ask for help, right? Think about the guy. You're the beginning people are the ones that ask for advice, for the ones that want to grow. But then the guy that goes to the gym, walks like if he's really tough, uh,
Macho
and
man.
then he's not growing. He's kind of strong, right? He doesn't have the physique, but he could push the 100 dumbbells. But imagine if somebody tries to give that guy advice, how he would take it. Or would that guy even ask for advice? Probably not. And that's why they don't develop their physique, because all
Yep.
of a sudden a little bit of success may cause your mind to close, right? And be careful, guys. You want to make sure you're always a student to the game. And it's harder. It gets harder, right? Because truly, I mean, you could attest to this, Eli. You develop an ego after a while, right? You start developing an ego, and we all have to, because sometimes in negotiations, sometimes you got to put that ego into practice sometimes to an extent. But that doesn't mean do not be too good to listen. Do not be too good for an area. Do not be too good for people. Um, Always find a way to not be the smartest person in the room.
100%. And I think that's a really good point to end on, right? Because we got some stuff to do today, Leo. I don't know what time you got to get to Las Vegas, but um, no, that's a really good point to end on. Is that don't be afraid to ask for help, right? You don't know what you don't know, and that's the biggest problem right now. Is that we have a lot of people running around, and it's like you try to give them advice, and they kind of brush it off because they don't think that you're in a position to. When in all actuality, like you have all the data and all the facts to show that you are. And essentially, like us, right? Me and Leo, we want to be able to help. We want to be able to tell you guys, like, hey, this is what we did. Like, I see what you're doing. Can I just give you some advice? And sometimes that advice, unsolicited advice, isn't needed. Like, hey, like you said, the student or the teacher will show up when the student is ready, right?
Mhm.
And whether you're the teacher for that person or not is kind of irrelevant, but all you can do is be ready yourself as a teacher for when the student shows up as well, because that's a big responsibility there, right? Because when somebody starts to ask us questions, it's like, oh man, there's light here. Okay, I am doing something right. Maybe I should pay attention to what I'm doing, right? And all the reps, all the hustle, all the talent, at the end of the day, once you get in that position, it all matters. So, on the topic of hustle versus talent, in the beginning, you gotta hustle your face off because most of us aren't talented, right?
Yeah.
Most of you guys, you're not gonna come out the gates just, hitting homers. It's gonna be the base hits, it's gonna be the bunts, it's gonna be all that kind of puts the numbers on the board for us and for you. So learn how to do that. Hustle your face off. It's not gonna feel good. It's not gonna look good. It's not gonna be the prettiest, but it's essential, right? And then you can start to foresee your talents and be like, oh, shoot, I am actually kind of good at that. I don't know why, but I am. And now you exploit that. Now you explore that through a coach or through some other avenue of learning. Now you're investing your money in yourself in order to grow your skills and your talents. And that's how you get successful, baby. That's it. No, everybody wants the
No,
secret, Leo. So give them
there's
this.
no secret strategies, formulas, right? They think you're doing witchcraft, dude. You sold your soul.
Oh
All right.
man.
Well, that concludes it. We'll have more next week for you guys, and probably we'll open
Definitely.
up to any topics. You know, we'll see, and maybe we might bring on a first special guest. We'll see.
Yeah, well, get ready for our guests, guys. What I'm gonna do too here, right? We're also licensed real estate agents here in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and we do a lot of business here in New Mexico. Our information is gonna be down here. So anything that we can do to help you guys out, please feel free to hit us up, email, text, call. Follow us on social media. I'll also put that down here as well. That way you guys can follow us and love to chat. All right, Leo. I catch you later, bro. Be
All right.
careful. Enjoy your time. And this was the Dirt and Diamonds podcast, episode number Trey.
Dirt and diamonds, baby. Take care, hermano.
Peace out. Hey, don't no cuelgues.
Okay. Okay.
Um, that new episode's premiering right now,
Hold on. How can I
and
stop? Let me stop. How do I stop recording this thing?
oh,
Oh, there we
I
go.